I'm here breaking down some pecan logs that we've had for 5 months laying in the yard. These were taken out of a pecan orchard. They were culled for low productivity. Anyway, they've been in the yard 5 months and the heat of summer is coming on, and if I don't get blanks made out of these pronto, they're going to get ruined by boring insect larvae. Here's an example. This is the very last long log half that I have to break down. I've gotten a couple dozen archery bow staves and quite a few billets like this for making axe handles. Pecan is in the hickory family. It's very dense, tough wood. And it also has a certain type of growth or feature that I really want to make the focus of this video. This would be an example of what I call wood literacy. So knowing what you're dealing with, getting the best out of whether it's logs or lumber. So this log had this kind of, well, I already split this, and I thought I better stop my workflow and actually really show this to people. It had this right here. You could see this on the end grain. This kind of, what would you call that? Stripe. And that also, and this is what it looks like on the radial split surface of the wood right here. And these often go very long. They can go for feet. And it's diminished over here, but by the time we get to the end of this billet, it's pretty much disappeared. There's just the faintest trace of it. Now this billet was attached to this one a few minutes ago, like so. And the source of those dark streaks resides within this log. What I did was, the best I could, try to split right down those streaks. So you could see them on the end grain, and you can see this long streak going all the way down. You can see it on both sides, although it's certainly more prominent on this side. And here again you can see it on this end grain, and I did have to split in from both ends and have that split meet in the middle. So here's what we get. These dark stripes that run through here, which side is it? It's this side. So because my split didn't run totally straight, these stripes do continue all the way through here, but there's some of this more blonde looking wood is covering up the source of those stripes. Can you see this kind of gnarly inclusions right here? Well, there's a line of that, which is a major weak spot in the wood. And I don't want that to end up in an archery bow or an axe handle. Anything that's under dynamic stress will have a major weak spot right along here. So I'm going to use a power carving bit with an angle grinder to carefully pare down below this and see what that feature looks like in situ in the wood. And before I do that, let me show also that the highly trained eye would see it in the bark. Right here, this conspicuous line is a clue to this defect, if you want to consider it that, residing in the wood. So let me get geared up with safety equipment and power carve that and see what really lurks in there. I've got my trusty ArborTech TurboPlane bit, which has carbide teeth and lets you graze very, very carefully in there. These streaks, whatever they are, mineral streaks, I don't know what they are, but they dull blades very rapidly. Even very nicely tempered blades will get dulled quickly from that, and even carbide will noticeably dull from carving that. So that's something to watch out for too, in addition to that just being a weak spot. So let's see what's up under here. Come take a close look. See, there's this line basically of these open voids, and I don't know what creates this scar. Is it a bug tunnel? Is it just the random type of growth of the wood? But that's a very serious weak spot. It's a discontinuity of the grain here, so you certainly wouldn't want that in a bow limb or a working tool handle of any kind. What I typically do is simply excise that, so I just make something short out of this side, cut that out, make something long, or longer out of the long side. Out of curiosity, I'm going to power carve a little more and just see how deep these go, and maybe we can have a look at do those voids get worse? I don't know. Maybe they're diminishing right now, but I'm just going to carve into them until they are completely removed, and we'll see what's left. Before I do that, let's have one more look. And I just want to mention how whatever this feature is, it's extremely reminiscent of ambrosia maple, the type of streaking that makes plain old vanilla looking maple beautiful with kind of blue and purple and pinkish streaks. And they always also emanate from these a row of voids or bug tunnels. So I think it's a very similar phenomenon to ambrosia in maple. Call it ambrosia pecan. So I have excised everything that, all the grain that wasn't more or less straight and even, because all of those, each of these individual streaks is associated with this little canker, if you want to call it that, some little void space and like a mini burl, a snarl of grain. And I had to go most of the way through this. The wood itself is 1.25 inches thick here in the middle. And I'm estimating that I'm at least 3/4 inch deep there to just get past the last traces of those snarls. Excuse me. And that's why I typically just excise those bands. They almost always are in a cross-grain band of these voids, and I just trim that stuff out. And because hickory and pecan are valuable for barbecue wood, I sell those for smoking wood. I work with these species of wood pretty regularly, and I've encountered this many times. And however far along the length of the grain, of the wood fibers, these streaks go, I've only ever seen one of these bands of inclusions associated with the streaking. So I would not expect another band up here, for instance. So I think in this billet, which was attached to this one here, like so, and we can still see some of those streaks coming through, I don't think there's another one of those bands of voids in here that would be the major weak point. These streaks themselves aren't necessarily anything that really weakens the wood, but the caveat there is if you're going to work that with hand tools, it will dull your blades rapidly. So I will double check that I don't see any of those distinct scar lines like we saw on the bark on this one here. Like so, I don't really think I see any of those. just to be sure. So I think I'm safe to proceed making a premium axe handle blank out of this chunk here. And looks like I'm getting more spoon stock out of this half. So I've just had my little heart broken so many times, not just dealing with hickory and pecan with this particular feature, but many other species of wood have their own considerations that can be deal breakers when you're trying to make something out of it, from log or boards too. And that's why I've trained myself to read the wood very carefully, whether log or board, before deciding what to make out of it. And I hope this kind of information helps somebody else out there avoid the frustrations, some of the frustrations that I've had. You gotta have a little bit so you learn it good, right? So stick around the channel if you like learning this kind of stuff. Thanks for watching.